Hello, everyone. How are you doing today? Today, I'm going to talk to you about what is your why. And your why comes into place in several different aspects. But first, let me introduce myself. I'm Kelly Lee Sappenfield. I'm a fifth generation metaphysician, spiritual teacher, and mentor, and author and speaker. And I'm here to help you live your best life and to learn about metaphysics and to create the life that you really want to create. So let's talk about your why. When I say what is your why, what makes you get out of bed in the morning? What makes you want to do your career or your what are your goals? What is it you want to accomplish? Think about what is your why? Why do you want to accomplish certain goals? Why do you want to travel once we can again? You know, do you want to start a family? Do you want to set up money to buy a house? What is your why? What is it that internally is propelling you to say, these are my goals. I'm going to work the plan to create them so I can have this. Okay. What does this bring you? So let's say you want to start a business. I want to start a business. Why? What does that business give you? Does it give you the freedom to do things your own way, to be your own boss, and to put your stamp on the world? And does it that then in turn gives you the financial freedom to travel, to have a family, to build the dream house? What are your whys? Hi Tracy, hi Athena. Um, think about it and think, what is it are my whys? Do I know what my why is? Or am I scratching my head thinking, I don't know what my why is? I get up, I go to work, I eat dinner, and I go to bed and maybe watch a little TV. I don't really know what my why is. Well, if you don't know what your why is, then you're probably dragging yourself out of bed every morning because you're not inspired. But when you know what your whys are, hi Athena, when you really know what your whys are, then when you get up in the morning, you're inspired. You're inspired to work your journal, make your plans, work your plans, do whatever needs to be done to accomplish that why. But if we're just sitting here day in, day out, just, okay, today's Thursday, it's the same as Wednesday was, it's the same as Tuesday was, and on and on and on, you're living an uninspired life. And that's not what we're supposed to be living. We're supposed to be inspired. We're supposed to know what our whys are. And if you're 50 like I am, and you're like, I have no clue what my whys are, that's one of the reasons why you're going through what you're going through right now with COVID-19 and this pandemic and staying at home. Is Spirit's giving you the opportunity to really nail down those whys. Now, people used to say, oh, it's your bucket list. And yeah, there's a bucket list, but most people's bucket lists are, I want to go to Ireland, I want to go to Scotland, I want to go to the Maldives, I want to do this, right? But it's not why they want to do them. What does it mean to you to be able to do your whys and to do those things on your bucket list? I know people that make them absolutely gorgeous vision boards and they put them up and they look at them and they look at them and they look at them. They're not doing anything about them. And we've talked about this before. The law of attraction has the word action in it. You have to do something. So what are your whys? And your why may not be, I want to start a business and I want to be a multimillionaire and I want to have this corporation with nonprofits. It doesn't have to be massive in that sense. It has to be massive in the sense that it inspires you, that you get up and you're like, yes, today I'm getting one step closer to this. Today I'm getting one step closer to that. Even if it's this little tiny baby step. Because you don't have to be the next Food Network star to have your why fulfilled. Now, maybe your why is fulfilled, and then you go on to your new why. And that new why becomes, okay, I've got this successful business here. I'm going to be the next Food Network star. It doesn't matter what your why is today, but your why should do two main things. It should inspire you. It should make you want to get up and do what you need to do that day to work the plan, to accomplish it. And your why you want to do it, should not only inspire you, it should excite you. And when your why inspires you and excites you, then you set goals that actually will kind of scare you. And that's the goals you need to be setting. Not the goals of, I'm going to empty the dryer today and actually fold the clothes and put them up in the closet. The goal needs to be something that you really, I don't know how I'm going to accomplish it, but I'm going to accomplish it. And each day I'm going to take it a little baby step and a little baby step, and I'm going to learn a little here, and I'm going to mess up a little here, and I'm going to learn a little here, and I'm going to accomplish this. And eventually I'll get to that. But when it inspires you and excites you, then when the goal is a little bit scary, or even a lot scary, because you have absolutely no clue how you're going to do it, you turn that fear into fuel. And that fuel gives you the energy to accomplish it. But if you have a goal that's really big, and you're not inspired and you're not excited about your why, then that fear holds you back. Your fear becomes overwhelming. Your fear becomes all these excuses, excuse me, on why you cannot do what you need to do that day, right? So think about it. Do you have a why? And sometimes the why is just your why. Sometimes the why is something you and your partner are striving toward together. Sometimes the why could be for your children, especially if they're younger. If you have a child that wants to make the cheerleading squad next year, then you're going to work with them on their why and to get them excited, inspired, so they need to do what they need to do every day, so that when they go to tryouts next year, they have a fighting chance, right? You wouldn't take a child and say, okay, I'm just going to dump you over here and give you no direction, not give you a pep talk, not make you, not have you excited about it, not have you prepared about it, not have you going through the baby steps so that it's not this huge leap. And just say, good luck with that. You wouldn't do that to a child, so why are you doing it to yourself? And as adults, we're very guilty of this, right? Oh, I really want to go on this trip. And okay, maybe I can't do it right now because most places you can't go right now. You can't travel. But instead of saying, oh, okay, I'll think about that when travel's open back up and there's a vaccine and I feel safe and everything, why would you start working on it then? If that's one of your things that you want to accomplish, that's one of your big goals in life that you've always wanted to go, let's say, to Stonehenge for the solstice. Well, Stonehenge isn't going to be open this year for the solstice. They're going to stream it for the first time, but it's not, you're not going to be able to go to England and go to and see it in person. But that doesn't mean you can't necessarily do it next year. Now, wouldn't it be a lot easier if you say, okay, I have this really big why, and it may not happen this year, it may happen in 2021, 2022. But if I start working on it now, I've got these little baby steps I need to do, and then it's taken care of. And then when it happens, I have everything done. And not only that, in the process, I've discovered new things. Maybe I've discovered there's this little tea shop not too far from Stonehenge that everyone raves about, all the locals rave about. Oh my gosh, I've got to add that to my list. I want to go to that tea shop. If you throw everything together at the last minute, you never hear about the tea shops of the world. There's little nuggets that you'll actually take away and will be more meaningful in the end game. So what are you inspired about and what are you excited about? When you look to what you want to accomplish and what you want to have in this world going forward, what are those two things? What makes you excited? What do you want to create? Because there's nothing more powerful than our creative energy. When we set our minds to create something, it's the same as when Henry Ford said to his engineers, I want you to create this engine. And his engineer says, that's not possible. And he is like, impossible is not a word in this business. You will create this engine and it will revolutionize the auto industry. He did not take no for an answer. He had that vision and he knew his why, and he wasn't going to stop until he got it. You may not want to revolutionize the auto industry, but Henry Ford was basically illiterate. I think he had maybe an 8th grade education, maybe. I'm not absolutely positive, but I know he definitely never graduated. But he had his vision, and he was inspired and excited about it every single day of his life. And he did what he needed to do. He found the people that had the expertise that he didn't have. So for me, how do you do a Facebook Live? I'm not a tech person, right? So what am I going to do? I'm going to go to YouTube and I'm going to look on how to do a Facebook Live. I'm going to learn what I need to do so I can do the next step I need to do to get me to my why, right? What do you need to do? What do you need to be inspired about? What do you need to be so excited and inspired about that every day, even if you have to do those mundane things that you just, okay, I have to balance my checkbook, and I'm not an accountant and that's not really my jam. There's those things in life that we have to do. But when you're excited and you're inspired and you know your why, you do them. You don't put them off. You don't procrastinate. You do what you need to do so that you can accomplish your goals, so that you can get your whys. Now, sometimes whys are intangible. Sometimes a why could be, I'm wanting a closer and deeper relationship with my partner. Okay. That's not something that you can go out and buy, but it's definitely something that you can get excited and inspired about, and then be willing to, no matter how much it scares you, to do what it does, what it takes you to do to accomplish it. So let me know if you have any questions about this. Is there anything that you're not understanding when it comes to claiming your whys? Because if you don't live with your whys and you don't understand this, then you're really living uninspired. And who wants to live uninspired? Who wants to go through every day like the same day and boring, 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 boring? Now, I personally absolutely love to travel. And if you know me, you know that. Right now, my husband and I actually topped off our gas tank. We put in 5 gallons, and that's the first time we topped off our gas tank in 6 weeks. This is the least mobile I have ever been since probably I was a very small child. Or I was sick and laid up with something, right? So think about, there are times that, okay, we can't be what we normally are. But that doesn't mean that we just close up shop. If you're inspired and you're excited and you know you're wise, then this time period is your biggest opportunity to claim them and to do what's needed to accomplish them. I was on a Zoom conference last night, and this lady she has 4 children under the age of 8. And everyone's homeschooling right now, right? And she was looking at their lessons plans, and she was like, what in the world are they even learning? So they went and bought seeds, and she's teaching them how to garden. They've done other things, and she's teaching them how to sew on a button or do other things in this time period, because they need to learn those things. And now's the perfect time for them to learn it. And they're enjoying it together as a family. And they're not running around in the normal rat race that we were all in until this last March. So she found herself a new why when her kids ended up, okay, all of a sudden, they're not going to school. You're the teacher. What are you going to teach them? So she delved in and she figured out, okay, what is it? What is her why in this time period with her kids? And sometimes our whys are for short time periods like that. But most of our whys are big picture. We don't start a business and we don't have a why. Because if you start a business without a why, you're not going to do what it takes to run the business. If you start a business because this is the business someone else tells you to do or thinks you should do, you're not going to do what you need to do to make that business successful. Because it's not your why. It's not your way. Now, when it comes to accounting, the IRS likes a certain way of accounting, and that's a totally different ballgame. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about someone wanting to open up that makes jewelry and wants to open up their own little jewelry store on Etsy or on Instagram or whatever, and they make a certain type of jewelry, and everyone else is like, oh, you shouldn't make that jewelry. You should make this type of jewelry. But she doesn't like this type of jewelry. She has no desire to do that type of jewelry. She did, and it could be that they're saying you should put a bunch of crosses and these symbols and all this other stuff in it. And at the same time, you're like, no, I want it to be stones and amethyst and topaz and citrine. And this is my vision of what I want my jewelry to be made. Now, are you going to make the jewelry you want to make, or are you going to make the jewelry someone else wants you to make? It's not like, okay, I have this custom order and it fits into what I want to make. This is a totally different type of jewelry company. You really have to sit there and you have to say, okay, this is my why. And I know it's my why. I know it within every fiber of my being that this is my why. It inspires me and it excites me. And this is my goal I'm going for because of my why. And yes, it may scare the bejeebies out of me a little bit, but I'm going for it. And so when those people and those naysayers and who do you think you are doing this or wanting to do that come about, you're like, okay, that's your opinion. Thank you. And you move on. You don't take it in. You don't take that negativity in and say, well, who am I to think I can do this? Well, why can't you do it? There's nothing more special about you than there is about me, than there is about anyone else. We're all equal. We can all do whatever we set our mind to accomplish. But are we setting our minds to accomplish something? Or are we just existing? Because if you're just existing, then you're not living. And we're here to live. Now, I don't know about you. Living some days, it's a drudgery. Living some days, your head's in a box of tissues and you're bawling your eyes out. Some days, though, it just rocks. And you're going and you're blowing and you're accomplishing things. But it doesn't matter what the day is. One of the very most heartfelt compliments I've ever gotten in my life was I was at a Hay House Writers Hay House I Can Do It workshop. They used to hold these weekend long workshops, and all the Hay House authors would come in and they would give speeches, and you could talk to them and they would sign their books and all that stuff. Well, I was in line after listening to one of the authors, and I was having him sign his book. And he looked at me and he said, "Are you always this happy?" And at that point in time, I was probably in one of my more depressed states that I've been in, because I had just buried my mother less than a month before that. And one of the reasons why I went to that workshop all weekend long was I needed the positive energy. I needed to be uplifted. I had had a heck of a year with my mom transitioning, and I just needed to be surrounded in that atmosphere, right? And I looked at him and I said, actually, right now, I am not at my happiest. But thank you for saying that I radiate happiness, because that means the world to me. And I went about my way and I didn't think anything of it. And I ran into him a few years ago. And he said, I know you. I know you from somewhere. I don't know where I know you from, but I know you from somewhere. And I introduced myself and I said hi and everything the way I usually do. And he goes, "You're the happy girl." And he goes, "And you're always happy. How are you always happy?" And it's not that I'm always happy. I'm inspired and I'm excited for life. And that makes a big difference. And I told him then, I said, you know, those words you said to me those years ago, you probably don't remember. And I reminded him what he said. And I said, that really, I needed that more than anything. I think I went that whole weekend just for what you said. And he was like, why? And I told him a month before that, I had had to bury my mother. And he was like, seriously? And he was blown away that I could radiate happiness at such a time when I was not at my happiness. And that makes a difference. It really, really does. We all have ups and downs and we all have valleys. And as I'm speaking to you today would have been my dad's 90th birthday. And he's been gone, almost 30 years. Anyway, not quite 30 years, but it's one of those things that when you know your why and you know it in every fiber of your being, this is why I'm here. This is what inspires me. This is what excites me. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to create. This is what I want to accomplish. These are the relationships I want to have. This is the health I want to have. This is the finances I want to have. When you know that and you really know it, then when those tough times come, and they will come and they will go, just as they always do, but when they come, guess what? They're not near the dark nights otherwise. I hope this helps. And if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. Put them in the comments if you have a question right now or anything like that. And I really want to hear what your why is. So if you know it, let me know. And I'm going to put in the comments that if you want a free 30-minute chat with me, maybe to help you discover what your why is, there's a link in the comments and you can click on that link, schedule a free 30-minute chat with me, and I can help you figure out what your why is and what you want to do to accomplish it. Okay? I look forward to it, and I really hope I see you again here tomorrow and that you have a fabulous evening. And as you go through your evening, think about what your why is and expect miracles. Take care. Bye-bye.